The L13 Unit 02, codename Orion, current status, sunken, was the first L13 ship in development, starting from August 12, 2023, to March 24, 2026. When the naming scheme was released, it was still incomplete, which is why the L13R thriller took on the code number 01. Its unique concept taken idea from the zinc layer used on a ship's hull, corroding in place of the actual hull materials, protecting the hull beneath it, and its design from the rings around some planets. It was planned to have a long curved array along the edge of the deck, lined up with high-caliber guns. The ship's production was going well until in September 7, 2024, where it faced a large issue in its trial run to test its complete hull. It had extremely horrendous stability issues, where it repeatedly kept on tumbling, almost capsizing the ship thrice during the trial runs. It didn't make sense to the design team, nor the research and development team. Anything they added afterwards was not able to fix the issue. The search for the fix lasted for approximately 2 months, where on 24th November, they all gave up on the current design and scrapped it, only being able to come up with the reason behind being was a design flaw. The initial plan afterwards was to follow up on the design and concept of the ship being worked on at the time by another Legion 13 department, which would later wound up to be the L13R thriller. However, the amount of data collected from the ring ship was quite considerable. On a short notice, a new decision was made to build a new ring ship from the data collected from the previous ship. In order to try not to repeat the same flaw, though still not yet fully understood in detail, they took more time and caution in doing each step in its production, and the results of it were extremely successful. A ship which dominated in short to mid-range fights was created. For a large ship, like our thriller, it was extremely agile in battle. The rings, though quite heavy, was very effective in protecting its deck and armaments. Its rings were also quite modular. It was able to easily be replaced after being damaged badly, though requiring its own lifting machine. It boasted a great number of large-caliber gun turrets, experimental oxygen torpedoes, few anti-aircraft weapons, and most importantly, Legion 13's first successful attempt at replicating Spy-1 radars. The L13 Orion was powered by 14 battleship boilers, 2 of which used as backups. Unlike the L13R thriller, the L13 Orion did not have to implement as much hull concept designs, due to its base hull design being more hydrodynamic and the less weight it carries. Though as every ship, it had its own flaws. The L13 Orion's operations are mostly internalized. This is due to the engineer's acknowledgement that as durable as the ship's defense rings are, they are ultimately the ship's first and last line of defense. Once it's broken, the chances of survival will be greatly reduced. The L13 Orion was not designed for prolonged engagements due to its lighter deck armor, caused by the extremely heavy armaments and armor rings it had. Thus, mobility was designed as a key component to neutralizing the enemy quickly. The bridgeless design allowed for much less weight, but left a minimal space for crew. As a result, all crew members of the L13 Orion are required to undergo extensive reactive measures training to better support the ship under hostile skirmishes. The L13 Orion's first mission was to support a Brazilian fleet to fend off against a U.S. Navy fleet in May 17, 2026. The situation was derived from Brazil's suspicions of the current state of control from the United States, which were full of suspicious movements. And, due to that, the Brazilian government had decided to cut off contact with other countries in seclusion. While this was happening, an agreement was made between Legion 13 and the Brazilian government to provide information of any activities of the outside world, along with some combat support when necessary, in exchange for the concealment of Legion 13's physical presence to the outside world and let their operations continue for the meantime. Brazil's sudden concealment had made the US mark them as a potentially hostile country, sending a destroyer fleet as a stark warning to reconnect. Back to the fight. The L-13 Orion didn't see much light in action. It was only able to damage few destroyers, due to it firing at a distant range from the rest of the fleet to conceal its existence from the US Navy. Most of the battle was done by the Brazilian destroyers and L-13 Thriller, with its planes disguised as part of the Brazilian forces to damage the American fleet as a warning back for the US Navy to step back. It was also done to mislead the American forces to believe that the L-13 ships were part of the Brazilian Navy. At the time, the Legion 13 was working on quickly expanding its arsenals. The operation ended in a success with only resulting in minor damage in both the Brazilian fleet and L-13 Thriller. L-13 Orion was left unscathed. The L-13 Orion was sunk during Operation Ender, nearby Norway, in order to pave way for other L-13 units through a wave of Russian ship fleet led by Admiral Kuznetsov, Russia's only operational carrier. The L-13 ships faced a constant attack of missiles from both aircrafts and destroyers. The captain of the L-13 Orion, acknowledging that his small fleet, no matter how tough, will sink under a continuous prolonged attack, ordered its crew to brace themselves for its last moments.
We can't win. We will all sink before we arrive. We have to do something.
We can only hope to hold on long enough. It seems he's having difficulties.
I think.
Orion, what's your status?
Send my apologies to the others. For everyone here, thank you for being here with me and for taking care of me. Hereby I declare I will stop this wave. I will take over. To any of my crew, you are free to leave immediately. For the world, for the future, don't stop. To the end.
What do you mean? Moving full speed ahead, forcing its way through towards the enemy fleet's flagship, crashing on an Grigorovich-class frigate while drifting towards Admiral Kuznetsov, even after being hit by several torpedoes and missiles. The L-13 Orion kept on bracing forwards, and finally, after closing its distance with the carrier,
Thank you.
The L-13 Orion self-detonated itself on impact, unleashing a massive shockwave, heavily damaging nearby destroyers, almost capsizing several distanced, and creating a rapid sea of flames for a little while, letting all the other nearby L-13 units to voyage through them, towards their final destination, and destruction. No. I shouldn't. Alright. End of report.